I harvested our beets this morning. I'm so excited that we grew beets. We used to grow beets all the time. Every year we grew beets, and I made pickled beets, and we eat them roasted. We love beets. But then suddenly we couldn't grow them anymore. And I think one of you helped me figure out why. I think I'll have to pause here a minute. Got my pickled beets on the stove there in the water bath canner, and it was getting about to bubble over on me. I'm afraid I had the lid on too tight. Anyway, one of you shared with me that I shouldn't plant beets until the dogwood trees bloom. So that's what I did this year. Now, as I look back in the past when we did grow beets, I probably did have to wait till later because I was working a full-time job outside the home. And I probably just, by the time I got around to actually planting my garden in the spring, it probably was later. So that's probably why they did better. But over the past several years that I've been blessed to be able to be at home, I've tried to get a jump start on all the garden, and I think I was just planting them way too early. Now, I did plant some last fall in the hopes, well, maybe I could grow them in the fall. Maybe I could do that. But I put them in the wrong place. I put them in a place that didn't get near enough sunshine. They did actually sprout, and a few of them grew, but they were little tiny ones. They just didn't, I was doing them in grow bags, and they just didn't do as good. Anyway, you see, I've got some of them over here. I've got some in the canner that I've pickled today, and I have a video about pickled beets. I could link to that if you're interested. But those I'm going to use for supper tonight. I'm going to roast some. So roast beets is in mine and Jim's cookbook, Celebrating Southern Appalachian Food. Me and Jim, my dear friend Jim Cassida. It's really so simple. You know, even when we were creating this cookbook, some of the recipes me and Jim both thought, it's just so simple. Should we really put that in there? But what I found since we published the book, and I'd already kind of discovered that just from doing YouTube videos and sharing recipes on my blog, a lot of times, even the simple ones, if it's someone that doesn't, maybe they don't know about cooking, or maybe they remember their grandmother, their mother, someone, you know, the grandfather, whoever, making a recipe, but they never really knew how they made it. And I've had so many people tell me that, say, you know, Tipper, now I know how. I'm not really a cook myself, but I remember those Sunday dinners at Mama's, and now I know how to do these things. But thanks to you and Jim writing this cookbook. So I am glad we put this one in there, even though it is really, really simple. So all it is you need your beets. I got those right over there. Olive oil, salt and pepper. We're going to peel and chop the beets. You could just really scrub them real hard if you want to do that, but I usually peel mine. Toss with the olive oil and turn out onto baking sheet. Season with salt and pepper to taste. Of course, you could put any seasoning that you would like. Roast in 450-degree oven for 20 minutes or until tender. And then there's a tip for added sweetness. Drizzle honey atop the beets before roasting. It makes them especially good. We all love them done like that. Sometimes I put the honey and sometimes I don't, but I think I will. I think I will today. And another thing I've thought of while I was making my pickles all evening is that I'm going to go out and see if I can get some of our carrots. So I'm going to do the carrots. I roast a lot of vegetables, and I'll tell you, there's some other recipes in here, but it's the same. I do them all the same. So we eat roasted potatoes a lot. I just dice them up, toss them with olive oil, season them, put them in the oven, 450 for about 20 minutes. I do squash and zucchini like that. They don't take quite as long unless you want them to get really brown on the outside. Of course, the inside cooks really, really fast because they're a softer vegetable. And of course carrots, we do carrots like that too. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Our Cushaw squash, I do that like that. Our butternut squash, those winter squash that we grow. So a really quick, easy way to cook those kind of things, thinking about stuff that comes from your garden, but oh so good. Roasting them really just brings out the flavor. Oh, just really wonderful. So we'll have to go out and get my carrots before I can do that. I need to make my cornbread. Early this morning I put on a pot of green beans, so I've got that done. They've been cooking all day, and it was a mixture of the last rattlesnake beans. Me and Matt pulled out the whole row of them, so it was a mixture of them, a few of the preacher beans that was left out there, and then also our greasy beans that are back here in the back. Now, Matt and I, if you missed that video, we replanted beans out there, and they're up. They're up about that big. Some of them are just beginning to poke through, and the cucumbers we planted are up about that big. So so nice that we've been getting rain pretty much every day, so it's really helped with those seeds that we planted. What else was I gonna have for supper? Oh, I have just some little pork chops. I'm gonna fry up them, and I think I said the cornbread. Yeah, and this time of the year you got to have, you know, some tomatoes, some onions, and some cucumbers from the garden. So I'm going to go out and get some of that. I got some cucumbers earlier. Those over there were hiding from me and they're way too big, but I think I put them in the refrigerator. I've got some tomatoes, so I just need to go after the onions and the carrots, and then I'll be ready to start supper. Found a couple more cucumbers that I missed this morning, and I got some onions. I don't know which carrot to pull. I'm just going to start pulling them, I guess. It looks like a good one. Kind of disturbed those, so I feel like I should pull them. Those are tiny. Here's another big one, maybe. Oh, two nice ones. Those look kind of little. Nice one. Oh, that's a great one there. There's a little bitty one. Planted them so thick, when I pull them up, others come with them. Those little ones. And that one. I think that'll be enough. I'm tempted to try and see if there's any parsnips. Kind of skinny, but there is one. I don't think I'll pull any more of those. I'll just take the carrots in. Now it's time for me to rinse everything. I forgot to say, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to saute up, just cook real quickly, some of the beet greens. If you've never had them, they're really tasty. They're really good. And of course I need to clean them because they've got dirt all over them. I did spray them off outside, but I didn't get all the dirt. But you can see this one is Detroit red beets. We love those. And I think this one was bull's blood. I'll have to go back and see. I may be wrong, but isn't that a beautiful leaf? But if you didn't know, they're very tasty. Now with the carrots, I'm not going to eat the tops of them, although people have told me that you could, so I don't know. Maybe I should throw some in with my beet greens. I'm not sure I will or not, but if I don't, I'll make sure the chickens get them. They really love them. And then I think instead of just slicing up some of the cucumbers and onions and tomatoes, I was just thinking I'll just slice some, but maybe I'll make a little salad like Granny makes. That's a salad we eat a lot during the summer, especially when this is the green onions. They kind of get a little limp, because that's about as big as that onion would get. It's been so dry, and these were in our raised beds. If we plant them in the ground, they get bigger than that. Some of them's bigger than that, but you can see that one's still fresh and young. This one had been kind of hidden under some of the cucumbers that were growing out, so I'll cut that part off, and then maybe I'll just dice them up and make a little salad. Of course, if you're working with beets and you don't want your hands to be red, you can see mine's been red all day because I've been working with them, and it doesn't bother me, but you could always wear a pair of gloves, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it. You could roast the beets just like this, as big as they are. I mean, you could even roast that one. It'd take a long time, but I usually chop ours up into smaller pieces, just kind of like that. Probably should have wiped some of the water off my board there before I started. And the inside of a beet pretty though, so pretty. Never takes as many beets as I think it will. I was afraid that wouldn't be enough, and then look how many it is. Of course, if there's leftovers, they're good the next day too. I'm going to rinse my board and then I'll chop the carrots. It really doesn't matter. Actually, I think I'll just wipe it. It doesn't matter. Your carrots just may get a little red. And of course, you could mix them all up together in the same bowl if you wanted to do that. Those little tiny carrots, ate most of those, and they were good. I'll add the one little parsnip that I picked. I hope the others are bigger than that, but they may not be. A lot of people tell me they grow parsnips during the fall for a winter crop, and they do better that way, and they're sweeter. That's the first time I've ever managed to even grow a parsnip. So when it comes to how much olive oil, it's kind of personal preference, but I aim for enough to coat the, whatever it is, whether it's beets or potatoes or whatever I'm doing, but like down in the bottom of the bowl, I don't want there to be any pooled up and left there, if that makes sense. That looks pretty good. I'm going to have room for my carrots in one end. So they look like jewels. Pap used to, all of his grandkids when they were little toddlers or little babies, that's what he would call them, his little jewels. Spread the beets out some, let them hug up against the carrots. For the seasoning, again, whatever you prefer, but I just usually do salt and pepper. Although I forgot, I am going to do some honey. Was looking for I have a honey thing to drizzle, and of course, ain't that how it goes when you're trying to do something? You can never find what you need. As soon as I finish this, I'm sure I'll find it. I looked in every drawer and looked in my utensil things, and I just couldn't find it. So I'll just use a spoon. Now I have this all ready to go. It's ready to go in the oven. I'll put it in the oven with my cornbread. That way they'll both be ready at the same time. And the only other thing I need to do is make the salad and cook the pork chops. Oh, and do the greens. I forgot, I gotta do the greens. They won't take but a minute either though. About to put my cornbread in. I got the salad made. And I'm gonna also put in the beets and the carrots, and once I get the meat and the greens, we'll be ready to eat. I usually do the greens in, you know, olive oil, bacon grease, even butter sometimes. But I think I'm going to throw them in where I was cooking the pork chops. And there's going to be a whole lot of hissing and popping when I first put them in. But I think that's what I'm going to do. Especially going to be because they're still wet. I probably should chop them up some. Maybe I'll cut them with my rough chop with my scissors here. It's going to be some popping. See how any type of greens, and this is a good example, how they cook down. There's not near as many as what you thought. Me and Corey couldn't resist. We've been in the cornbread with the butter. Corey said, "Is there anything better?" I said, "No." I don't think there is. I was going to get Corey, before we call everybody in, that's the pork chops. You want to try a beet with me? And Corey can give it a taste.
Oh gosh, that's so hot, Mom. You got a strong mouth though. Ow.
It is hot, but good.
That is so good.
So good. When Corey and Katie was younger, they would say, "Mama, beets taste like dirt." I'd say, "I know, they're so
That's
good."
the point, right? As I
took you a while to get to there.
I haven't had roasted beets, and I went through a spell where I would do that like at least once a week. I just buy them from the grocery store and roast them. I hadn't done that in a long time.
Well, these come straight out of our garden. Ain't that
That's
great?
why they're so good.
That's why they're so good. The carrots did too. Carrots did too. Yeah. That's my timer going off. I think we're ready to call everybody to eat. The other yahoos are in there. I don't know what they're doing. I called them. They're not coming, so I'm gonna eat without them, me and Matt. I'm sure they will come on though. The green beans, I know I've already tasted them, are really good, and I think they're really good because they've got lots of shellies in them. A lot of those that Matt and I, actually I'm on a different spoon though, or maybe I'll use this little spoon over here maybe. A lot of the rattlesnake beans that Matt and I tore down and picked the beans off of, the outside hull was really tough, so I got it off, got the beans out of them. So I'm going to get me a little bit of the pot liquor there to go with them. My cornbread. My greens, I did not make enough, but I guess that's enough for all of us to have a little bite. So I'll leave those for Corey and Austin. I didn't put a fork on the pork chops, but oh well. I guess it's just us. It's okay. Get some of Granny's little salad. It's in the recipe book too, mine and Jim's cookbook. Again, it's so easy, but you know, I've had people tell me I didn't remember how Mama or Granny did that. So that's why we put it in there. Of course, we put the recipes that were near and dear to our heart too, and that one definitely is. Every summer of my life, Granny's made that. One of the real benefits, you could of course buy the stuff at the store, but it's real handy to be able to run out and get a cucumber and a tomato and an onion and then make something to feed your family. Give me a fork. I already tasted one of the beets with you, but let's see, I'll taste a little bit of the greens. They're good. They do taste like pork chops, though. I'll have to see what Matt and Austin think about that. All of it's good. I didn't try one of the carrots, I don't think. Really good. Really sweet. All of it's really good. But my favorite always pretty much is the beans and the cornbread. That's just such a staple of our diet, really, in the winter or in the summer, either one. But it's especially nice when you have those fresh green beans. They're so good. So good. Both those recipes are in the cookbook too. If you hadn't picked up your copy, I'll put the link in the description below so you can go and check it out. And I'm going to go enjoy this wonderful meal with my family. And I'm always grateful when you stop by to help me celebrate Appalachia. Are you making faces, Katie? Yeah, I think Katie was making faces. You have to tell me if you like beets or not. And if you do, if you think they taste like dirt. Because we do, but they do, but we still like them. Katie doesn't like them, but me and Corey like them.
I want to do the dirt.
And Matt, does Austin like them?
Do you like beets, babe?
Do what?
Do you like beets?
Yeah.
Yes. So everybody likes them but Katie. She's the odd man out.